What's up, guys? Spanketh here. Um, so this week I'm gonna go over follow-up stuff because I saw my general practitioner on Tuesday about what has been going on recently in the last 2 weeks, pain-wise, as well as the lab results and other things. Briefly, gonna touch on a little bit about record keeping. For yourself and or for anyone who you may advocate for or help out. And then, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the whole frustration of this week and things of that nature. So I'll go ahead and start with the updates. With Tuesday, I saw my general practitioner. She did some, initial, poking and prodding and all that, and showed her where it hurt, and it was kind of like my bladder area, right? And even still now, like, that initial pain that I had like 2-3 weeks ago, that initial sharp pain and discomfort is gone, but I still have urgency to go urinate. It's like I'm assuming it's basically like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. Let me go take care of that. When instead, for me, it's, oh my gosh, I suddenly have to go to the bathroom. If I don't go within the next 10 seconds, I'm gonna need to change my pants. That sort of thing. No, I haven't had to change my pants or wet myself, in case you happen to be wondering. But it's frustrating to have that, and then the discomfort is still there. If my bladder is semi-full and I push on it, it's not like sharp pain or anything, but it is not pleasant feeling. It's hard to explain, but it doesn't feel good to push on it. But my doctor said all my blood work that she ran, and she did she did thyroid, on as well as a hormone and testosterone. I'll go over those in a second. But everything she basically ran the whole panel, A1C, everything. I was checked for different organs and such, and I was well within normal parameters across the board, which is great. The only thing that was a little high, and I mean like 7 points out of normal range, that's what I mean by little, is my triglycerides, which that basically means I'm eating a little too much fat and or sugar, which, I'll admit, it's been a rough couple of weeks, and food has always been, unfortunately, a comfort item for me, especially sugar. And a lot of times with sugary foods is that fat, so I've kind of toned that down since then, a fair bit. And but all things were normal in the blood work area. Now the reason why she tested for my testosterone, hormone, and thyroid is because I've been, and I'm sure I've talked about this, is I've been dealing with what I'm just calling hot flashes and cold flashes. Throughout a day, I can be like, oh, no jacket on, no socks, and I'm totally fine. And then all of a sudden, I'm burning hot, gotta turn on fans and turn down the air conditioner and all that. And then I'll be cold and have to put on the jacket and put on the socks. And then it just constantly all throughout the day. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's less. Sometimes I don't get it, but in general, it's nothing that's normal. Or should be happening, and that's why they tested those to see if those were out of normal range and could be causing it. And since they're normal, obviously that's not the cause of it. So in my head, I'm thinking, if you look up small fiber sensory neuropathy or small fiber neuropathy, they're one and the same. I don't know why there's two different names, but they're one and the same. And if you look them up on many different websites, they all roughly say the same symptoms. And one of them is body temperature goes up and down. One of the other ones I noticed is your blood pressure can go up and down. And there's times where I'll go to a doctor's appointment and it's 160 over 90, which is high. Or even I've had it as high as 160 over 110, which is really high. But then they always want to test it again because they're like, that's not good. And so like at the end of the appointment, they'll test it again and it's 140 over 90, which is normal. And it happens a lot. They're like, are you on blood pressure medicine? Do you have blood pressure problem? Like, no, it just for some reason it's high at sometimes and low at the other, and never understood why. But that's one of the other symptoms of the neuropathy. And then what's going on currently with my abdominal area, more specifically, I feel the bladder specifically. It also says that it can cause abdominal or intestinal GI issues, basically. So that's my thought. Plus, there's a couple other things that I know. See, I have to write everything down because I forget. But there's several things that just kind of tie into the neuropathy, and I know I'm on medication for it. But here's the thing: it doesn't necessarily mean that the neuropathy isn't getting worse, because it's a progressive disease, and often it starts in your feet, and then moves its way up towards your arms and hands and stuff. But it doesn't, whatever. But it doesn't necessarily mean it will, but it can. And so my thought is, A, it's getting worse. B, maybe the meds just aren't working anymore. Maybe my body's used to it. Maybe both. The other thing I thought of is I was told, I want to say it was last year, I was told that I am at a very high risk of developing autonomic neuropathy, which that deals with your motor functions. And motor functions is what your body self-regulates, that you don't really actively think about or control. And so if you develop that, it's very unpleasant and not a good thing to have. I don't think it's that, but hey, I like I said, I'm not a licensed doctor. I don't know. But I feel it's neuropathy related. If it's not, the only other things I can think of is I'm developing Crohn's, which I'd say about 70% of the symptoms fit that I have. My cousin has it. I don't know if that matters, but when I saw a urologist 2 years ago, I first started having this very slight pinch pain in my bladder when I would empty it. And that's when I went and saw them about it. Plus, I felt at the time I was urinating way too often. I know I drink a lot, but I felt it was still in excess. And I also used to have to get up in the middle of the night to go, which oddly I don't anymore for some reason. So I saw them for that, and they say, well, right now, since it's very minimal and not very frequent, just keep an eye on it. But it's quite likely with your Ehlers and whatnot that you can develop Crohn's. And so that's why I'm putting that on the table as well. And the other thing is lupus, because I have the marker for lupus, and I've been told by several doctors that sometime in my lifetime, probably when I'm older, but just sometime in my lifetime, I will develop lupus. So that kind of fits. I mean, it does mess with your GI, but I don't know if this is exactly how it would. But again, maybe, I don't know. So there's that. Either way, if it's any one of those, I'm not looking forward to the treatment. It's probably going to be some harder core stuff than just pills that I've been taking. So kind of been a little upset and bummed out about that. Of course, I could be completely wrong, and it could be something harmless, like, I don't know, I don't really think it's an infection, but hey, you never know, right? With my body, there's so many things going on, it makes it hard to really pinpoint what it might be. So going back into the whole like abdominal area problem that I've been dealing with, I also had an ultrasound done on Thursday and an X-ray as well. And the ultrasound was not just the abdominal area, but it was a specific look at the bladder. Like they had me come in with a full bladder, checked it out, had me empty it, and then checked it out again and see if how well I empty my bladder, which that's normal. Everything for the most part looked normal for some reason, which I have to talk to my doctor about. But my labs all came back clean, but yet they said my liver was enlarged and fatty, which is not good. But it's weird that the blood test didn't show that, because I know in the past I've had it show it, but this time it didn't. So I don't know. But that's really, that's important, but that's not as important as what's going on. But the only thing with the bladder that showed up was that the walls of the bladder were thicker than they should be, or thicker than normal. And I don't know what that means. I mean, inflammation, but inflammation from what? If it's just an inflammation from infection, okay, cool. But again, it doesn't explain the last 10 months and even back to 2 years ago when I started having that pinching, empty bladder pain, and it's actually gotten worse over the last 10 months. It's been more frequent, more intense, as well as there's times where I have to go really bad, and I try to go and it like trickles, and then after a few seconds it finally starts going, or flow problems essentially is what I'm getting at. And I don't see how I can have it. I don't honestly feel that's infection related, because that's talking about not just 10 months that I've had that infection, but that initial symptom started like 2 years ago. There's no way someone can have an infection for 2 years and not know it. So it may explain like the thick bladder walls maybe, but I don't think it explains everything. But again, I don't know. But my doctor did just mysteriously order a dual antibiotic for me without telling me why. And I even messaged her and no response. So that's kind of frustrating. So now I have to just wait till Monday to try to get a hold of her and see why she prescribed it. If I should just take it as a precautionary, or she's just giving it to me in case. I don't know. So it's been frustrating, and I've been really racking my brain. I mean, my two good buddies, I've been probably driving them a little nuts with constantly like, oh, well, maybe it's this, but no, maybe it's that. I don't know. It's frustrating not knowing. I'd rather be told it's lupus, which is, if you know what it is, or if you want to look it up and see how bad lupus is, I'd rather be told, hey, you have lupus and that's why this is going on, than, hey, we just don't know. There's no reason we can think of why, or no for sure reason. Maybe it's this, so maybe we'll try attacking it from that approach, or whatever. And that's the roughest part for me, is not knowing. And it just gets in your head, and you're just like, what is it, and you try to like micromanage, think everything. Oh, well, maybe this is this and that, or this. Oh, I remember about this and that, and it just doesn't end well. So I'm trying my best to just let it ride until I can talk to my doctor, and then maybe ask for a referral back to the urologist and just get their opinion, or I don't know what she's gonna say really. I don't know what her she's gonna think with the findings she sees on the scans. But it's kind of funny but sad at the same time when usually when you go and get like scans done, there's a doctor there that kind of oversees looking at these things and stuff. And so my sister works at one of these places, and that's where I go. And so I'm thankful for that because I get the results right away instead of having to wait to hear from my doctor, because at this point I probably wouldn't have known until I heard from my doctor probably Monday. So that's always nice. But the doctor there, they're like, I don't know, maybe it's something called BOO, which is basically bladder obstructions. I don't know, something about there's something about there's an obstruction in like the neck of the bladder or one of the tubes or whatever. But they're like, but that doesn't exactly make sense because, well, it doesn't show there's blockage. So they're even kind of like, which is kind of funny, but also kind of like, yeah, it's never good when you stump any doctor. So yeah, it's like I made the joke. It's like, well, maybe I should change my legal name to Enigma because, yeah. But getting aside, it's frustrating, like I said, but I'm just trying to let it ride and hopefully something will come out of it. Obviously, I am looking forward to seeing my pain specialist now because I need to talk to him about the neuropathy, because regardless if that's agitating the GI, abdominal stuff, it's definitely affecting my body temperature, which I'm surprised they didn't, that wasn't one of the things that they thought of in the first place. But I mean, I don't know what else it would be given the fact that every other test was clean and normal in that regard. So we'll see. Maybe they can give me either a higher dose or a different medication altogether. I do know antibodies in general, they can develop the tolerance for the medication and adapt to it. I do know in general I get that a lot with my body. It's I get the it adapts easily and quickly, not all the time but often, more often than it should. And I also get the adverse side effects. So like, for example, if I took a medication and it says it's for this, but it also has the added benefit of being an anti-migraine medicine as well. Well, I would end up getting migraines because of the medicine. So it's basically the opposite of what it's supposed to be doing. So that kind of sucks a little bit in that regard. But it's been a little bit better lately, at least with the medicines they've been giving me. I haven't really noticed anything too crazy or too intolerable per se. So that's been good lately. But yeah, so I'm just kind of waiting up to hear from other things, and just right now it's actually just waiting game. But so that's basically that. I'll also, like I said, I'll talk about record keeping. So I've been really honestly bad about that. Most of the time I get MRI or whatever results on a piece of paper, and a lot of times we'll just shove it in my closet with all the other stacks of paper and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I lost some of that throughout, like putting stuff in the shed because my room's getting cluttered, or maybe just trying to purge things. And I know I've talked many times about how horrible my memory is, and like just when I saw my general practitioner Tuesday, I was going to ask her for a new rheumatologist referral, and I totally spaced it. So I had to send her a message yesterday saying, oh hey, I totally forgot to ask. Yeah, so I went ahead and recently got like a tablet because first I was going to do a 3-ring binder, but I'm like, oh gosh, carrying that thing around with all that paper, plus the paper can get ripped or damaged or lost, yada yada yada, and it's heavy and bulky, and trying to flip through that would be like, oh, hold on doc, hold on, it's on page 5323, hold on, so I got a tablet for that, and I'm still kind of trying to find decent apps that help streamline that a little bit. I've got one that's not bad, but I'm still trying to find ones that are easier, or just ways to apps or things to organize the files and all that. And I'm gonna go ahead and start requesting, all my medical records. I was hoping I could download it through the app, but apparently it doesn't work that way. So I'm just gonna have to start requesting all my medical records from at least up to 5 years ago, and then just kind of, if they can't give it to me in a digital format, which they probably won't, I'll just have to ask for the papers and then scan each one, which sucks, but once it's all said and done, then I have it all there ready to go, and I can organize it, and then it'd be easy just to like flip through it. Plus then I can write notes and things that I want to ask the doctors as I'm there, and that way things will be better overall. And that way I can also be like, well, hey, you told me this at such and such time, and because I get that a lot, like, oh, I don't think I've ever said that, and it's like, okay, whatever. So yeah, that would be good. And obviously I want to do it probably for my mom too at some point, because I help take care of her and take her to her appointments and stuff. So I kind of have to know her stuff too, because her memory is just as bad as mine, if not actually worse. So yeah, it's kind of funny us both going there like, no, I think it was, do you remember what, no, so it'll be good in the long run. And I highly advise you guys do that. However system works, if you want to buy, on Amazon, there's these pre-made journals or logs or things that you can buy that are pre-done, and you just fill them out, and then you can just like maybe have a file folder for all the documents you get. However really works for you, I highly recommend doing it if you haven't already started doing it. I've been bad about that, and I'm just like, I need to stop doing that. I need to be better about it and get it done. And I really want to push you guys to make sure you do the same thing if you're not already. It's very important, because doctors aren't perfect; they're fallible. And if you're on SSI as well, it's good to have concise records of everything, and so that you don't have any issues there. So yeah, I would definitely say do that as well. And then obviously, as things come my way in terms of information or doctor's appointments, I'll keep you guys updated on anything that develops in the meantime. I have my nerve burn on my upper back Tuesday, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to actually ask the doctor there, who I like, in terms of surgery wise, that is. I mean, he's a decent guy, don't get me wrong, but I digress. But I'm going to ask him, hey, they think this might be happening with my spine, the rotation. Is there a way you can like maybe determine that as you're going in there? I don't know. It wouldn't hurt to ask at least, right? So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes well and gives me some much needed releases. I just cracked that area. So that will be good. I also released a video late last night or early this morning, however you want to look at it, about just a kind of more of a light, fun kind of video about some interesting things I can do with my body because of my hypermobility and nailers, all that kind of stuff. So feel free to check it out if you want. And I plan to do that kind of stuff here and there. Actually, there's not like a huge range of things I can do anymore because of my arthritis, which I talked about a little bit there too. But yeah, as I'll try to come up with other things to do and show you guys, and not maybe just talk about this. Just kind of have other things to kind of bring to the channel and whatnot, and just mix things up a little bit, kind of a thing. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, in the meantime, that's pretty much it for now. As I said, I'll update you guys as the time comes to have any updates. I'm still waiting for that referral to UCLA. I gotta hound them on Monday, like, where is it? What's going on with it? Kind of thing. So yeah, right now it's just kind of a waiting game, which is one of the suckiest parts about the whole thing. And so just trying to keep myself occupied and you know, keep myself as healthy as possible and doing things I should be and avoiding things I shouldn't. So I thank you guys for, you know, coming to my channel and watching my videos and commenting, and feel free to comment anytime if you have a question regarding you know, health issues you may have. I had someone recently ask, you know, my opinion on what's going on with them, and like I said, you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, not any medical professional, but you know, obviously I've dealt with a wide range of things, and you know, I talk to a lot of other people who deal with other health issues and such, and so you're welcome to ask my opinion on things. Just know that it's, you know, my opinion and my opinion alone. But feel free to ask anything about my conditions or just anything you want to ask me about my conditions, or how, you know, I function on certain things, or certain things I do or don't do or eat, or whatever it may be. Just feel free to drop a line, and I'll get back to you. And so I thank you all. I love you all, and you know, please take care of yourselves and do what's needed to get you to the healthiest version of you that you can get to, and help those around you that, you know, may need it. And you know, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.